So good morning, and today I'm going to show you how to turn one of these into one of these. So for this build, you're going to need a few tools. You're going to need a crosshead screwdriver. You're going to need a very small flathead screwdriver, and then optionally you're going to need some scissors, clippers or pliers, and a pair of tweezers. So the first thing we're going to do is look in the box and see what components and fixings we've got. So in the box, amongst all the packing peanuts, you will have a box of console electrics, a bag of console fixings, a joystick, and your console pieces. We're going to start by having a look in this pack marked console pieces. And in here what you'll find is the main body of your Picade console. So we've got our acrylic control panel and MDF control panel. We've got our two side pieces. We've got our front, our back, and the base panel. We're also going to need some things in our console fixings bag. And in here we have some cable ties and cable tie mounts. Got some rubber feet. We've got the audio cable, power cable. We've got a single hinge. We've got a bag of M4 nuts and bolts, bag of M3 nuts and bolts, and we've got a bag of M2.5 nuts and bolts. We've also got a catch, and we've got our wiring loom. I'm actually just going to divide these M4 nuts and bolts, as you do have some of various lengths. So we've got some 22mm M4 bolts, 16mm M4 bolts, and 12mm M4 bolts. We've also got some M4 nuts. Now the first stage is to go around your Picade and attach all these little black fixing blocks. And we're going to do that using the M4 16mm bolts. So grab your screwdriver, and if you can see on there, we've actually got a nice rectangle where each of these fixing bolts is going to go. So we're just going to place that on there, put the bolt through from the underside, and just tighten it up. Some of these fixing blocks will require both holes populating, some will just need one, and you can see that some have only got one hole cut out. So that's my first fixing block attached, and you can see the bolts are going from the outside to the inside. I'm just going to quickly go around this base plate and attach 1, 2, 3 more of these fixing blocks. So that's all 4 fixing blocks attached to this plate. What I'm next going to do is attach the front plate at a right angle using these 2 fixing blocks that I've just installed. Again, I'm just going to bolt from the outside using 2 M4 16mm bolts and 2 M4 nuts. Just like that. The next thing is to attach the 2 side pieces. You'll notice with these 2 side pieces that they have different cutouts, and that's because they only go one way. And like with all the pieces in this build, all the etchings and the words are on the inside. And that's the second side. So now we can attach the 2 final fixing brackets, and these are going to be the ones that hold on the top control panel. And that's 2. So that's the basic shell of our console put together. The next thing is to move on to the speaker, the fixings, and then we can move on to the wiring and finish this build off. So I'm going to mount the speaker using these 12mm M4 bolts. And then secure it with these M4 nuts. And that's the speaker attached, just like that. Next, we're going to attach our little catch and our hinge. So we're going to attach the hinge to our back piece, and then we're going to use the hinge to attach this back piece to our main build. The hinge just bolts on with the 12mm M4 bolts that we've just used for the speaker, and the same M4 nuts. Just like that. Next we're going to install the catch. Now in the bag with the catch there are these 4 little silver screws. You don't need those, so you can put those to one side and use those in a different project at a later date. So the catch is 2 pieces. One piece goes on this main build and one goes on the door that we've just installed the hinge to. Both pieces actually use M3 nuts and bolts, and they're in this bag. Now in this bag you've actually got 2 sizes of M3 bolts, so we're just going to split them up. So we're going to be using the smaller M3 bolts to attach both sides of the catch. Exactly like the M4 bolts, just screwing them on and then putting a nut on the inside. And that is our back plate completed. So we've got the catch on there and we've also got the hinge. I'm going to put that to one side. And now we're going to install this part of the catch onto our main console build. And that just goes here on this inside side piece. So now all that's left to do before we move on to the wiring is to attach this back piece to our main build. And for this we're going to swap back to our M4 bolts, our small 12mm M4 bolts. I'm just going to bolt through into this hinge. So that is our shell pretty much all put together. Next we're going to install the buttons and we're going to wire those up to our Picade PCB.